Newcastle take on Sheffield United tomorrow, looking to get their European challenge back on track after that midweek defeat to Crystal Palace. Now, Eddie Howe held his pre-match news conference. That was early this morning. Keith Downey was there for us, and we can head to Keith now. The future of Bruno Guimaraes, I mean, that has been a big talking point for Newcastle fans, and obviously Howe addressed the issue at today's news conference, didn't he, Keith?
Yeah, he's probably fed up talking about the Bruno Guimaraes contractual situation and won't he stay beyond this summer. He's been linked with some of Europe's top clubs and all Arsenal and Manchester City in the English Premier League as well. Now, Eddie Howe revealed this morning that Bruno Guimaraes does have a release clause, which we were already aware of, but there's a small window for that release clause to be activated this summer, and that is the start of June and the end of June, and that has been put in place by the football club to ensure that they don't have a contractual saga running all summer long. This is Eddie Howe on the topic this morning.
Well, when I think it's something you don't necessarily have control over, then I don't tend to worry about it. I think it goes without saying my thoughts on Bruno's situation are that we want to keep him, we want to build our team around him. He's an integral part to what we're doing. I think his form has been very good. He seems very happy and settled, and he'll be thinking about, of course, a busy summer ahead, and where hopefully we can take the team with him a big part of it. But as I say, we're not in control of that, so let's see.
And are you aware of the release clause on that window, or is that not something you're aware of?
No, I think I'm aware of his contractual status, but it's not something that I focus on.
Okay, thank you.
Craig? Is that a smart move by the club that it expires on June the 30th? Because what you want to avoid is a transfer saga with a player like Bruno through the summer with that hard deadline of June the 30th. Is that beneficial to you and the club?
Yeah, I think having that was well planned and structured by the club in a sense that there is sort of a finish point.
So basically the Brazilian has that release clause there, Haley, meaning that if any club wanted to sign Bruno Guimaraes, they would have to pay £100 million. That would close, that window would close at the end of June, and then after that Newcastle would be able to flatly refuse any offer or basically make up their own price for whoever it was that wants to pay him. So what I would suggest from that is that the ball is in Newcastle's court, and it feels like they're in quite a strong position, and it's not going to drag on all summer long. Eddie Howe was also asked this morning about the transfer window and what type of player he wants to bring to the football club. Remember, last summer they brought in young players, likes of Livramento and Hall, for a lot of money, I have to say, but they were more players that he wanted to develop and to try and bring slowly into the first team squad. He was asked this morning, will this summer allow them to maybe look at more elite level players? And this was his answer.
Just sort of where we sit now, both in terms of wages, transfer fees, I don't think we're in a position to do that. So we have to sign and develop those players. We have to sign players with the potential to become world class. I think we're well on our way to doing that with a few players already. So it doesn't mean that you can't have them existing in your squad. It just means you've got to work really hard with them. But I think that's what we've always done. So I've got no issue doing it.
Yeah, moving on to matters on the pitch then. Obviously, Newcastle have that huge game against Sheffield United tomorrow. They could go straight back down to the Championship. But for Newcastle, they'll be focusing on securing European qualification. What did Howe have to say on their chances of that?
Yeah, Haley, it feels very much like that battle will go to the wire. Of course, as you said earlier, Newcastle slipped up midweek away to Crystal Palace at the same time as Manchester United were picking up 3 points against Sheffield United, who, of course, Newcastle play tomorrow. But look, the games are running out for Newcastle. The fixtures look fairly favourable for them. But look, if they play the way they did against Crystal Palace the other night, they won't qualify for Europe this season. And everything they've had to contend with the schedule, with the injuries, Champions League football, I think they feel internally that they deserve something tangible from the season, but they need to finish on a high. They need more performances like the 4-0 against Tottenham 2 weeks ago, and less performances like the one at Selhurst Park in midweek.
That's why we have to learn and absorb all the the lessons that we received from Wednesday. You know, the Premier League is, and it's spoke about all the time, but it's so difficult. Every game, you look at Crystal Palace, they're some really good players, dangerous players, and we allowed them to hurt us.
Do you expect the race for a European spot to go right to the wire?
Yeah, possibly. I think, as you say, there's a host of teams, and probably all the teams in and around us at the moment will be a little bit frustrated because I think we've all been slightly inconsistent. So I think we're all searching for a formula and a momentum lift into the last few games, but we still have a lot of good games to play, tough games to play, but we're looking forward to the last 5.
Finally, a bit of good news for Matt Ritchie this week. Nothing football related. I tell you what, Keith, I'm just going to throw this out there as a bit of a shock. Me and Matt Ritchie have something in common, because I also have a large goods vehicle licence. It's expired now, unfortunately, but I did it a few years ago. Don't ask me why, but why's he done it? Tell us a bit more about this.
I don't know. I don't know why he did it. I don't know why you've done it. You might need to answer that question yourself, Hayley. Look, I think Matt Ritchie, his family home is down in the south coast. I think they have horses there. That would be my guess, probably, to be driving the horses around in the horse box. But yeah, he hot-footed back from Selhurst Park yesterday to take his LGV test, and according to social media, he passed with flying colours. Eddie Howe, well, I asked Eddie Howe about it this morning. This was his response.
That's a bizarre one, eh? I mean, that shocked me, and I think I know Matty pretty well, but I found out about this, that he was learning to drive the heavy goods vehicles about a week ago. But I think it sort of shows his inquisitive nature, and he's always trying to improve himself. So it's a slightly different thing. It's a nice story to talk about.
Can maybe drive you guys around in the team bus next season?
Yeah, I think it might be a bit expensive for us.
There we go. Yes, Keith, thank you very much indeed.